Hi guys, Arthur here from Homeowner DIY. So today what I'm going to do is I am going to replace the front passenger window regulator in this car behind me. Now the car behind me is a 2001 Buick Regal. I have actually replaced a window regulator before. I believe it was the driver rear. But guys, out of all the cars I've ever had, I've had to take off the door panel for one reason or another. I've had my car broken into where I had to replace a broken window. I've had the manual regulator in my Civic break. This car I've already done it, and also my Honda Fit that I currently drive. The driver's side lock wore out, so I had to take the panel off with that one too. So guys, this is definitely something that you can do, and it's something that you should be willing to try. Really, all you need is a socket set. It doesn't have to be anything crazy over the top. I mean, for less than $100, do one or two of these types of jobs and you've already covered the cost of your sockets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what the problem is. I'm going to show you the tools that I'm going to use, and then once the actual window regulator is taken out of the car, we will compare it to the new one to make sure they match up. Now I've had it happen in the past where I've actually been given the wrong part, so I had to go back to the store. So this is something that you need to check, and if it's something that's easier, it's better to try to check in advance then take everything apart just to find out that you had a problem. So we'll take a look at what the problem with this car is. Alright, so this is our window. The window should not move freely like that. You can also see how the gap has changed. This is the exact same problem that I had last time. I'll hop into the car really quickly. I'll show you the driver side, and then I'll show you the passenger, and then you'll see that this one doesn't work properly. Alright, so this is our driver's side. Moves up and down, and now our passenger doesn't work. So guys, in this particular case, I would say it's probably better just to buy the entire part opposed to the motor or the frame. The thing is, if you're wrong, now you have to go back to the store, and you may not be able to figure out how to take the thing apart. And I believe that was my problem last time. So in this case, I would say it's better just to buy the entire thing. A mechanic shop might be better and figure out what's wrong and just replace the one thing. But because the part is not all that expensive, in this case, go with a full entire new part. Alright, this is our tools list. So this particular set here, this is a Stanley. It's 122 pieces. For me, this has done almost everything I've ever needed it to. This set is, like last time I checked, was $240 new, and I bought it for $70. They have sales of like 70% off, which you wonder what they actually mark these things up if they're still making money off of that. But this is our socket set. It has metric, it has imperial, it has Torx. We have a Phillips screwdriver, needle nose pliers, and then we have a big flathead and a small flathead. Guys, this is all you need to do a job like this. So let's get started. Alright, so this is our door panel. There's a Phillips here. You need to pry this off and then take this cover off. I think there is an indentation on one of the sides. No, there's not. But we have our screw there. Take that out. So I will have to take this out as well. We'll grab our Phillips. Alright, I'm going to have to put the camera on a stand because I can't do this one-handed. Alright, we'll start with this first. So in this particular case, this you need to depress, Guys, when it comes to car plugs, you have all sorts of variety of car plugs, and a lot of them are really a pain to try to get out. So for this plug, you pull away from this, and on this plug, you actually depress this one in. So we have our switches unplugged. So down here, we have two 10mm bolts. All right, what we'll do is we will take our big flathead, and then we're going to start to pry from the bottom of the door. Alright, so what holds on the actual panel are these little plastic clips, and then they have ribs on it, so as you pull in, they grab on the inside. So we have one wire here, and this is the last thing that's keeping the door panel attached to the door. All right, so if we look at the door panel, the door panel has the clips, and in this case, it sits right up here on this type of rail. But what I'll do now is we'll throw the panel off to the side, and then we're going to take the plastic off. I believe this black here is acoustical sealant, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a knife, and then we'll cut nicely around. When I go to put this back on, I'm going to just tuck tape it back on instead of doing this. That way, tuck tape it's cleaner, and I don't want to go and buy anything for this. All right, I think it's the easiest to start in the back. Alright guys, I don't even think I need to take this corner off now. So we have bolts here, a couple bolts here. I believe these are all 10mm. We can leave this, we'll take this out, and we'll figure out how we're gonna go about this. Alright, so I pushed the window down. These two bolts here is what holds the window to the regulator. So we need to take the bolts out to get the window out. Alright guys, this is our window. So these two places is where the regulator connects to the window. So with the window out now, what I'll do is I'm going to start to unbolt the frame for the regulator. So these two and then these two hold the actual frame, and then these three is what hold the motor for the regulator together. So for what way or what method do you want to take this apart? I really don't think it matters. So just have at her. I believe these are also 10mm bolts. Okay guys, be aware of what the size of your bolts are, because this shorter one came from the bottom and then this other one came from the top. So the two that came from the top look like these, and then the one from the bottom is shorter. So it's just something to take a mental note of as you go along. Alright guys, so we're now ready to take out the entire part. So I put gloves on because there's grease and other stuff that I don't want to get all dirty. But what we're going to do is we're going to take it out, and it's going to have to come through this hole here. Alright guys, so I had to disconnect the power from the actual motor, and that was through this hole here. There's this little clip that comes off it. But this is all disconnected now, so we'll just slide this out. And this is our window regulator. Alright, so this is our material list, or because it's a car, if you want to call it parts list, you may do so. So this is our old one. The only thing that I notice between the old one and the new one is that this spring here is detached, and then here's all compressed. But the parts, they look the same. They match up fairly well, so I have no reason to think that this is not going to work. Guys, one other thing is, these are clips for the door panel. They give you new ones, and the old ones look like they're in pretty bad shape. So I'm going to throw the old ones out, and then we'll use this here. So once we get this inside, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the connector here, and then we'll bolt the thing back into place. And guys, one thing I've noticed is this here doesn't have the clips for the window. This is for the window. So I'm going to be taking this off and then putting it onto here. Otherwise, you see how this one doesn't move, and then this one is just all over the place. So again, I'm not sure what the problem is, but just replacing the whole thing is the simplest, most effective thing to do. Alright guys, so we have our window regulator. So we're going to slide it in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to connect the plug into here. Alright, so it's plugged in, and then we're going to take our little blue tab. I don't know what it's for, but it was already there, so you know, let's throw it back in. Alright, so I got the clip back on. I dropped it down the door. So what we'll do is we'll get our motor on first. Alright guys, so our motor's bolted back in here. What I'll do is I'm going to take this one bolt out, which I should have done before. Alright, so for the door handle, which rests on this piece here, we're going to line up the hole here. Alright guys, make sure they're nice and snug. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slide the window. We're going to put the window up in through the top. And then it needs to catch on here and then on there. Alright, so we have our window. Alright guys, so I took the rubber piece out. I think that's what my problem is, so we'll try this again. Alright, so the window is tightened down. Guys, be aware of this right here, that you want the rubber to be on the outside of the window, not on the inside of the window, so you don't have driving rain. Alright, so our window is back in. What I'll do now is I will get the top rubber back on. Alright, so that's back on. Alright guys, this is now the time to test, to make sure that this is all working properly before you put everything back together. Because if you have a problem, it's a lot easier to fix it right now than to go back and then pull everything off because something is not working properly. So we have our button. We're just going to plug that back in. Alright, I'm going to turn the car on and then we're going to see if this is working properly. Alright guys, so the car is just turned to on. Alright, so we're going to try this again. Alright, so this is now working properly. I noticed when it was going up, it was struggling for some reason, and I think the window was slightly out of alignment. But now everything looks good, so what we're going to do is we're going to take off our plug. Alright, now what we'll do is we're going to put on our our door panel to put back on. So guys, realign it. And now instead of reusing the acoustical sealant, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to tuck tape it back together. So guys, tuck tape is red. You can see it says tuck tape on it. Alright guys, so I didn't actually realize this, but these new yellow clips, there wasn't enough, so I had to put some of the old ones back in. But I put the new yellow ones on the back side because that's where I think you're going to have the most traffic. So first thing we'll do is we're going to connect our stereo. Okay, that is in. We're going to send our two lines through. And then just tap it all the way around. Alright guys, so we'll do our two 10mm bolts. Alright, so for our power door lock, so this will just slide over this here. Alright guys, we'll put our Phillips in. Alright guys, shame on me. I just made a rookie mistake. I went to go put the Phillips in and then I dropped it inside. Luckily, it's not far, so I'll be able to pick it up. But as I said in my tub video, it's a pretty foolish reason to lose your screw because you didn't block the drain. And here we are. So we'll put our switch in first. So this tab will go into the back first. And then we'll put our Phillips screw in. Alright, and then we'll put our little door back in the middle. Alright, so that's good. Alright, just like that, we are done. So what I'll do now is we'll go over the cost of the material and then the amount of time that we need to do this job. Alright guys, so this is the bill. It says BCIT student discount card. I have nothing to do with this school, but ever since I once asked if a guy could give me a deal, he said, how about 30%? I said, fantastic, and this is what I've been doing ever since. So the regular cost on this part is $201. It was $140, and then I wound up paying just under $160. Alright guys, and just like that, we are done. So the part or the material cost on this project was $160. This is with my 30% discount. Without the discount, it would have been $200 plus tax. The time on this job, I made a couple mistakes because I don't do this every day. But my time, I'm going to say, is about an hour and a half to do. Filming takes a little bit longer. In automotive shop, this is a 1 hour job. They are going to charge a 1 hour minimum just to touch anything. So for a shop rate of at least $100, I think that's what it is now. The part being $160 plus shop rate, they're going to add $40 onto the part plus whatever else. I mean, the tax is another $40 to $50 depending on where you are. So this job at a shop is probably around, I don't know, $350. But here I just did it at cost for $160. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope something here is going to help you when you go ahead and do your project. I know that this is not anything to do with a house, but I mean, I've done so much work on cars now that even this is easily $200 saving. So I'm very happy to be able to show you guys how you go about diagnosis and how to fix a problem like this. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next project.